There is a dangerous book not meant for the faint of heart. It does not teach you how to scrape together savings from a paycheck, nor does it promise luck from some outside force. Instead, it reveals a truth that can alter the course of your entire life. Every form of wealth, every measure of success, every destiny begins in the mind. You need no power, no special connections. What you need is to awaken the invisible workshop where faith, imagination, emotion, and action unite into an unstoppable creative force. Once you understand this, you will never look at the world or yourself the same way again. Introduction, The Dangerous Book and the False Rules of the Game. There is a kind of knowledge which, once you touch it, you can never return to your old way of seeing wealth. It is like a door that opens, and once you step through, you realize that what you once called money, opportunity, or luck are nothing but shadows cast from a much deeper source. The Dangerous Book is not sitting on a shelf somewhere, it is within your own mind. It is dangerous because it shatters the rules of the game that humanity once believed unchangeable. It does not promise quick riches, nor does it offer shallow formulas. It simply lays bare the truth that every measure of prosperity originates within, in the current of belief you nurture day after day. Why is it dangerous? Because it strips away the excuses you have clung to for so long. You can no longer blame the economy, your boss, or the absence of good fortune when you recognize that the power to create wealth lies in the way you think. The entire weight of responsibility falls back upon you, and that responsibility terrifies most people. They want to believe that some invisible hand out there blocks them, because it is far easier to accept that than to look directly into their own minds and admit that the true chains are the limits they have carried within. Look at your own life. How many times have you worked harder than others, followed every popular piece of advice about success, only to end up with just enough to get by? How many times have you chased trends, grabbed at opportunities, believed promises that this was the shortcut to prosperity, and yet remained stuck in place? You have thought you lacked knowledge, capital, or connections, but that is not the truth. You were simply playing in an arena where the rules were set to keep you average. Those rules teach that to be rich you must labor endlessly, seek approval from others, sacrifice health and time in exchange for a meager accumulation. They teach you that luck is decisive, that some are born to success and others to struggle. They persuade you that the material world is the cause and your mind is merely the effect. And by believing in these false rules, you are bound within a cycle with no escape. The Dangerous Book unmasks this deception. What you have been calling the cause is, in fact, only the effect. Money is not the cause of feeling wealthy. It is the feeling of wealth within your mind that paves the way for money to appear. Success is not the product of random opportunities. It is the reflection of an image that has been formed and held steadfastly in the subconscious. If you always see yourself as inadequate, the world will rush to confirm it. If you always see yourself as valuable, the world will have no choice but to reflect that truth back to you. You may ask, why are such simple truths not taught in schools? Because when you know that you are the source of prosperity, you are no longer easily controlled. A person who understands that their own mind creates reality does not tremble at changes, nor depend upon outside powers. That independence is dangerous to any system that seeks to preserve control. But for the individual who dares to take hold of it, it is the key to liberation. From this point on, the question is no longer whether you can become wealthy, it is whether you are willing to abandon the false rules and step into a different playing field. A field not built on sweat and luck, but on the knowledge of how the mind truly works. It demands that you awaken that you have the courage to accept full responsibility, that you discipline yourself in sowing seeds of belief and nurturing inner images. There is no room for laziness in thought, no room for the habit of blame. Think of all the times you longed for a breakthrough but let it slip away. It was not because the universe turned against you, it was because you were still playing under the old rules. The old rules told you that money was out there and you could only chase it. The new law reveals that money is but the shadow of belief, and when belief changes, the shadow changes too. The dangerous book does not teach you to run faster in the same race. It teaches you to step off the track and build a new arena of your own. When you grasp this truth, you will feel an immense release, freedom from helplessness, from comparison, from the obsession with lack. You will see that you are not the victim of the rules, but the one who writes them. And once you accept that position, the world outside does not change gradually, it changes radically. Opportunities once invisible now stand before you. Strangers now appear as allies to move you forward. Resources once out of reach suddenly draw near. This is why such knowledge is called dangerous. It does not merely alter your idea of money, it alters the very way you perceive yourself. It forces you out of the comfortable cage of hollow advice and compels you to live by one unshakable principle. Your mind is the origin of all prosperity, and once you accept this, you cannot go back. For every excuse, every complaint, every limit you ever held will vanish like morning mist under the rising sun. And from that moment, the real journey begins. No longer the game of luck, but the journey of awareness. No longer the search for miracles outside, but the awakening of the miracle within. No longer the waiting for an opportunity, but the creation of opportunity through unwavering belief. The dangerous book has placed in your hands a truth that cannot be taken back. The old rules only kept you average, but the new law makes you a creator. And once you seize it, wealth is no longer a question of. If it is only a question of when and how it will appear in your life. The hidden law of the universe, unshakable belief. Every great civilization has been built upon a belief, and every collapse has begun the moment that belief was shaken. Look back through history, and you will see that every invention, every revolution, every great turning point was born from a small group of people who dared to believe in something the rest of the world considered impossible. They did not wait for proof. They did not seek permission. They held to an image, to an unwavering conviction. And by that conviction, the outside world was compelled to change. This is the hidden law of the universe, an immutable principle. What you truly believe deep within becomes the pattern for your life, not the shallow notions that flicker through your mind. Not the phrases you repeat absent-mindedly, but the root beliefs upon which your soul rests its foundation. You may labor as much as you want, spend a lifetime acquiring skills, expanding connections, saving every coin, but if in the deepest layers you carry the belief that you are unworthy, that wealth belongs to others, the entire universe will arrange itself to confirm that belief. It does not do so to punish you, but simply because it operates like a mirror. The mirror never argues with the image you place before it, and so the mind never argues with what you truly believe. That is why the key to prosperity does not lie in chasing new opportunities, but in changing the root beliefs that have guided you all along. Have you ever wondered why, under the same circumstances, one person sees opportunity while another sees only dead ends? Why, in the same situation, one rises and another falls? It is not because the world is different, but because their beliefs are different. The one who believes failure is only a step in the process will endure, and success eventually comes. The one who believes failure is proof of inadequacy will stop and the world will confirm it by closing every remaining door. The universe does not choose sides, it only reflects the side you believe. Do you realize this is happening in your own life? The results you see today, whether in money, health, or relationships, are reflections of the beliefs you have cultivated for years. If you believe love is rare, your life will overflow with evidence of its scarcity. If you believe money is hard to earn, it'll always seem to slip from your grasp. But if you begin to plant a new belief that you are worthy, that wealth is not distant but near, then the universe has no choice but to deliver it. Let me ask you something. Right now, as you listen, are you willing to be honest with yourself? Are you willing to look inward and admit that it is belief, not circumstance, that is the root cause of what you experience? This is not an easy question, because if you say yes, there will be no excuses left to cling to. But at the same time, you will receive a gift, the gift of freedom. For if the cause lies in belief, then the solution lies there too. And that is something you can master. What is unshakable belief? It is when you hold a vivid image in your mind and refuse to let any outer condition sway you. It is when you look at an empty account, yet know in your heart that you are on the right path. It is when you receive rejection, but feel certain that a greater door is opening. It is when the world laughs at your dream, yet you smile, for, they simply have not yet seen what you have already seen. This is the subtle but decisive difference between those who remain stuck and those who step into the spiral of abundance. You can test this in your daily life. Choose a single image, perhaps the feeling of financial security, and nourish it in your mind each day. Do not allow any word or circumstance outside to pull you off course. Watch how life begins to arrange itself to reflect that new state. At first it may be small changes, an unexpected chance, an interesting encounter, an extra stream of income. But if you persist, the small stream becomes a current, and the current becomes an ocean. Remember this, the law of the universe never fails. It does not distinguish who is smarter, who works harder, or who is luckier. It only answers truthfully the question, what do you believe deep inside? If you believe you can only get by, that is exactly what you will have. If you believe you were born for prosperity, every circumstance will be forced to confirm it. This truth has existed for ages, yet few have had the courage to test it. And right now, I want to thank you for being here, for listening and reflecting with me. Your presence is proof that your soul is ready for change. For otherwise, you would not have stayed to hear these words. The only question left is this. What will you choose to believe? Will you continue to hold the limits that have bound you, or will you begin to nurture a new belief so steadfast that the world cannot help but mirror it back? The choice is in your hands, and from that choice, an entirely new life will be born. Thought is power, programming the subconscious. Every thought you nurture does not vanish into the void. It operates like an invisible current, flowing through the mind and etching its mark directly into the subconscious. Picture the subconscious as fertile soil. Whatever seed falls upon it, whether golden grain or choking weed, will be nurtured into reality. The soil does not discriminate. It simply fulfills its function, and so it is with the subconscious. It does not reason, does not analyze, does not argue. It faithfully executes whatever is repeated with enough emotional intensity. Thus, thought is never merely thought. It is creative force, quietly shaping the entirety of your life. Modern science has confirmed that each time you dwell on an image infused with emotion, your brain forges a new neural pathway. Repeat it often enough, and the path becomes a highway, and soon every action, decision, and reaction follows that track. This is why someone who constantly thinks of themselves as powerless will inevitably act in ways that reinforce that belief until their reality reflects nothing but weakness. Conversely, if you continually plant images of wealth, strength, and success, the subconscious accepts these commands as self-evident truths and arranges your life so that they manifest outwardly. The problem is that most people are unaware of this process. They allow thoughts to run wild, worrying about today, doubting tomorrow, blaming themselves, envying others. Each fragment, repeated often enough, becomes a hidden program, like background software running a computer, silently determining every reaction and creating matching circumstances. The person who lives in fear will see ever more reasons to fear. The one who constantly believes they are inadequate will continually face situations that prove it, and they call it fate, when in truth it is unconscious programming. The miracle begins when you take charge of this process, no longer the victim of thought. You become its architect. You begin to choose deliberately what you allow into your mind, like a gardener deciding what seeds to plant. You realize that every thought carries weight, leaves an imprint, and from this day you choose to sow seeds that will yield a worthy harvest. Imagine this. Each morning as you open your eyes, you hold in your hand an invisible pen that drafts the blueprint of your day. If you begin with worry, the subconscious records it and constructs a chain of events aligned with that vibration. If you begin with a clear image of success, the subconscious records that too and summons opportunities, ideas, and people to make it real. This process never ceases. It continues in wakefulness and in sleep. Every thought you hold is a command to the universe, and the universe only knows how to obey. The power of thought does not lie in its passing glance, but in its repetition. A fleeting idea is not enough to shape your life. But an idea held daily, infused with strong emotion, becomes a pillar of the subconscious. This is why so many never break through. They may listen to a positive affirmation for a few minutes, but spend the rest of the day submerged in doubt and fear. The subconscious does not retain what you hear casually. It retains what you dwell with, what you feel to be real in every moment. Once you recognize that thought is power, you begin to see why your life has unfolded as it has. It is not chance, nor luck, but the direct result of the images, emotions, and inner dialogues you have sown. And the good news is you can change it, just as a garden overrun with weeds can be cleared, tilled, and replanted. So can your subconscious be given a new program the moment you consistently feed it? One, this power is both dangerous and liberating. Dangerous if you neglect it and let it work against you. Liberating if you master it and let it work for you. The mechanism is the same, but the outcomes could not be more different. If you constantly dwell on lack, your subconscious will program your life to orbit around scarcity. If you nurture images of abundance, your subconscious will compel circumstances to align with them. It is not that the world changes. First, it is that the mind commands, and the world merely reflects in the instant. You grasp this law, you realize you are no longer a puppet pulled by outside strings. You are the playwright, and life is simply acting out the script you have written. Thought is no longer a trivial whisper. It is creative force, shaping destiny. And once you know this, you dare not take a single thought lightly again. For from this day, you understand that every stream of thought is a brick. You are laying in the construction of your future. The hidden enemy, doubt, destroys the process. No seed can ever sprout if each day you plant it and then dig it up to check whether it has grown. Yet this is exactly what most people do with their dreams. They visualize, they affirm, they pray, and then the next day they let doubt creep in and tear down the very foundation they had laid. Doubt is the hidden enemy. It does not shout, yet it is powerful enough to sabotage the entire creative process of the mind. You may compare it to a house under construction. Each time you trust, you place another brick. Each time you doubt, you remove several bricks with your own hands. The result is that even after a lifetime of building, the house never stands complete. Doubt is not merely a negative thought. It is reversed energy, an undercurrent that cancels out the vibration of faith. Picture a driver pressing the accelerator while simultaneously slamming the brakes. No matter how strong the engine, the car will jerk and stall in place. So it is with life. If faith is the accelerator, doubt is the brake. What is more frightening is that most people do not even realize their foot is on the brake. They call it being realistic. They justify it by saying, I must prepare for the worst, yet in truth, they are poisoning the very process of creation. Ask yourself, how many times have you begun with burning faith, only to give up when results did not appear quickly? How many times have you planted a vision in your mind and within days sighed, perhaps this is not meant for me? Each time you not only lose faith, you issue a command to your subconscious to cancel the process already underway. And the subconscious obeys. It does not distinguish between command and complaint. It only listens and executes. What makes doubt most dangerous is its false mask of logic. It disguises itself in reason, whispering, don't be naive, don't hope too much, don't believe. Without proof, it urges you to keep your feet on the ground, but in reality it only wants to keep you locked in your old cage. Do you see that you may have been a victim of this false reason? Can you admit that at times it was you who dismantled your own dream simply because you lacked the patience to hold faith to the end? If you recognize yourself in these words, give me a sign that you are truly present in this message. Comment, I am ready to change, or even just type the number 1, because the moment you acknowledge and declare, you begin to take power back from doubt. And let me pause to thank you for your presence, for your courage to look within. It means you have already taken a step, stepping out of the shadows of doubt and closer to the light of conviction. Remember this, the universe never operates in half measures. It does not respond to mixed signals. It only answers clearly to a clear belief. A full belief produces full results. A belief diluted by doubt produces only diluted results. This is why some affirm and visualize for years, yet see no change. They do not lack method. They only lack consistency. Think of faith as a flame. If you feed it with oil, it burns brightly. If you pour water upon it, it dies. Every doubtful thought is a drop of cold water upon that flame. Enough drops, and the fire is gone. But here is the good news. Just like a flame, faith can be rekindled at any moment. You decide to protect it. Once you guard it, the fire will rise again, illuminating your path and warming your life. Deep inside, you already know that doubt has never given you anything of value. It has never brought you closer to your goal. It has only made you stop, look closely, and you will see every worthy achievement in this world is the result of people who dared to hold their belief when everyone else doubted. Had the Wright brothers listened to false reason and accepted that man could never fly, we would still be grounded. Had Edison surrendered to thousands of failed attempts, the light bulb might still be a dream. What made the difference was not luck, but the indomitable persistence of faith. From this moment on, you must confront the hidden enemy within your mind and call it by its true name, doubt. Once you identify it, you can choose. You can let it continue to dismantle your progress, or you can rise, protect the seed, shield the flame, hold the inner image. This is not vague advice. It is an immutable law of creation. And if you apply it, your life will change in ways you cannot imagine. So leave me a small sign to show that you have heard. and that you are ready. A simple, I am ready to change, or even just the number 1, is enough to confirm that you have begun, and I thank you, because in the very moment you choose to declare, you are not only speaking to me, you are speaking to the universe, proclaiming that you have stopped doubting and started believing, and that is the very moment when the true journey begins. Mental muscles. The brain does not distinguish between real and imagined. In the inner world, there is a principle few ever recognize, yet it governs the entire process of creation. The brain cannot tell the difference between an actual experience and a vividly imagined one. When you envision a scene in detail, when you let emotion flow into that image, the brain instantly responds, as though it were truly happening. Neurons fire. Pathways are formed, and the entire nervous system begins to adjust itself to the vision you have created. That is why imagination is not merely a pastime of the mind, it is a training ground for the spirit. The gym where you build invisible yet powerful muscles. Observe world-class athletes before stepping onto the track. Many close their eyes and imagine every stride, every breath, every instant of crossing the finish line. Their brains register the process as a genuine rehearsal. When they step into reality, the body simply repeats what has already been practiced in the mind. This is not superstition. It is neuroscience. The brain reacts the same to an inner image as to an external event, and repetition in imagination becomes training for mental muscles, just as potent as physical practice. In daily life, you too are constantly training your mental muscles, though rarely with awareness. Each time you picture yourself failing, the brain records it. Each time you imagine death, rejection, or humiliation, your nervous system reacts as if it were truly occurring. You feel anxiety, your heart races, sweat pours, and the body remembers that state as habit. Repeated often, it becomes a neural groove, and you begin to act as though failure is inevitable. In that case, your mental muscles have been trained the wrong way. But if you reverse the process, if you choose to imagine success, abundance, confidence, and saturate it with genuine feeling, then the brain likewise cannot tell the difference. It accepts that you are living within that scene, and your nervous system prepares to make it real. This is why those who harness imagination always carry a decisive advantage. They step into situations with the composure of one already prepared, while others stumble in uncertainty. Mental muscles are like any other muscle in the body. Without exercise, they weaken, slacken, and become subject to the environment. With daily training, they grow strong, flexible, and resilient, carrying you through any circumstance. One whose mental muscles are strong does not easily waver in difficulty, nor panic in upheaval, for they have rehearsed steadfastness in the imagination long before the challenge arrived. Picture a businessman about to sign a major contract. If in his mind he continually imagines loss, betrayal, or defeat, his body tightens, his words falter, and the outcome usually matches that faulty rehearsal. But if he devotes time to picturing the contract signed with ease, the process flowing smoothly, his counterparts smiling and nodding, then the brain programs confidence, and the body naturally reflects its certainty. The subconscious adjusts tone, posture, gaze, and every signal aligns to produce an outcome close to the original vision. This power rests in the union of image and emotion. Imagination alone, without feeling, does not impress the brain. But when you infuse it with joy, gratitude, excitement, as though the event had already happened, the brain records it as fact. Signals are sent throughout the body, hormones shift, energy changes, and external life begins to arrange itself to reflect the inner state, many unknowingly misuse this mechanism against themselves. They dwell on the worst possibilities, rehearse defeat before beginning, and train their mental muscles to collapse. And then they wonder why life falls into patterns of failure. Yet there are those who understand the law and train deliberately. They spend time each day imagining what they desire, feeling it as though it were real. And gradually their mental muscles grow so strong that reality has no choice but to mirror the inner picture. This is the greatest distinction between those ruled by circumstance and those who rule circumstance. The first only reacts to what happens. The second has rehearsed long before in the unseen gym of imagination. When trials come, they are not startled, for their minds have walked the path hundreds of times. With each rehearsal, their mental muscles grow until inner strength becomes a wall that cannot be toppled. This explains why, under the same event, some collapse while others rise. The one who collapses never trained the mind to stand. The one who rises had already practiced, already envisioned, already lived the desired result within. When adversity strikes, they simply follow the familiar path carved into the brain, and in that lies their ability to transform hardship into opportunity. Mental muscles are not formed automatically. They demand intention and discipline. You must choose your thoughts each day, sow the right images, and nourish them with positive emotion. Each time you do, you are lifting weights for the mind, and as in any gym, no workout is ever wasted. Every effort accumulates, so that one day when you face the great trial, you will discover that you already have the strength to endure and prevail. And once you experience the truth that the brain does not distinguish between real and imagined, you awaken to the wonder that life is shaped not only by what happens, but by what you dare to envision with vividness and absolute conviction. From then on, you no longer squander imagination on fear. You wield it as the instrument to train your mental muscles, growing stronger with each day, drawing ever nearer to the life you have always desired. Belief as the operating system, the trigger of mental power. If the subconscious is the soil where every seed takes root, then belief is the operating system that determines which seeds will flourish and which will wither. Belief is not a fleeting thought you hold for a moment. It is the silent foundation shaping every choice, every action, and every outcome of your life. You may change strategies, you may acquire new skills, but if the inner operating system is still a limiting belief, the entire program you run will still lead only to limitation. Picture a computer running on an outdated operating system. No matter how advanced the software you install, it crashes, lags, and never reaches its true potential. Human beings are the same. If deep within you rests the belief that you are unworthy, then no matter how many courses you take or how many connections you build, the final result will still revolve around that sense of unworthiness. On the other hand, if your core belief is that abundance is natural, that success is inevitable, then every action, every opportunity, every decision will unconsciously move toward that result. Belief is the switch that activates mental power. When you believe with absolute certainty, inner energy is released, and the subconscious begins to operate with extraordinary precision. Thought becomes power when fueled by belief. Image becomes reality when upheld by belief. And once belief takes deep root, it governs your life with the same certainty as physical law. This is why someone may act as you do, perhaps even less than you, yet achieve far greater success. They hold no magic other than a different operating system. When their belief is firm, they radiate an energy The world cannot ignore. Their decisions carry weight. Their words attract. Their actions resonate with consistency. You can see them calm in the storm, steady when others panic, because they do not act from circumstance. They act from belief. There are those who spend their lives thinking they only need a little more luck, a little more knowledge, a little more help from outside. But what they lack is not external. It is an inner belief correctly programmed. Belief is not blind optimism, nor is it idle fantasy. It is a state of conviction so deep that the subconscious accepts the command and begins reshaping reality to match it. The very moment you believe something will certainly happen, you have issued an irreversible command to the subconscious, and it will run that program with exact detail. Ask yourself, what operating system is running your life today? Are you running on fear, always calculating what might go wrong, so every choice is safe yet never groundbreaking? Or are you running on faith, where even the smallest decision carries the spirit of openness and expansion? The truth is, you can always change that operating system. No one forces you to live forever with the old version, but change does not come from repeating hollow affirmations. It comes from reestablishing a new belief again and again until the subconscious no longer distinguishes between what is imagined and what is real. This is the power of voice within, not just a voice you hear, but a place you return to. I space youing a bit. When that voice whispers you are helpless, you are inadequate, your entire life runs on that script. But when that voice proclaims you are worthy, you are abundant, you are strong, then the whole world must rearrange itself to confirm it. This is a silent yet absolute power, for the inner voice never stops. It is the ongoing prayer, the background music that sets the tone of your entire existence. Every day you awaken. You may choose which voice to amplify. Leave it unchecked, and the old voice dominates, and the old operating system continues to run. But if you dare to implant a new voice, nurturate, repeat it with genuine emotion, you will find the operating system begins to upgrade, thought by thought, action by action, decision by decision. Your life will start to reflect the new foundation. Gradually, the outer world itself will evolve into its matching version. Belief, in the end, is not merely a spiritual choice. It is the trigger of mental power. Without belief, thought remains a passing image. With belief, thought becomes a creative command. This is the threshold. Anyone who seeks to change their life must cross. For as long as you hesitate, as long as you doubt, you are still running the old program. But when you decide to believe, truly believe, nothing can halt the creative process that begins to unfold. And once you understand this, you will stop searching for miraculous methods outside. Stop asking why others succeed while you do not. You will turn inward, reset the operating system, reprogram belief. And from that moment, your life will stand as living proof of an immutable principle. You do not live according to what you wish. You live according to what you believe to be true. From chaos to synchronicity. Coincidence is the result of vibration. There comes a moment on the journey when you begin to realize that the events you once thought of as random are not random at all. Every time you meet the right person at the right moment, every time an unexpected opportunity appears, every time a door opens just after you pictured it in your mind, none of these are accidents. They are the natural consequence of the vibration you are emitting. When the inner world is in chaos, life reflects chaos. When the inner world is in harmony, life begins to arrange itself in order, producing sequences of events that cannot be explained by ordinary logic. Many still believe coincidence is just luck, as though the universe occasionally conspires to let them meet who they need, or find what they desire at just the right moment. But the truth is deeper. It is arrangement guided by inner frequency. You vibrate at a certain level and you attract the pieces that match it. The one who constantly vibrates fear will gather ever more reasons to fear. The one who holds steadfast faith will attract events that strengthen that faith. Coincidence, then, is not chance. It is the universe's natural response to the signal you have sent. When you begin programming the subconscious with clear images and unwavering belief, you are, without knowing it, adjusting your frequency, and when the frequency changes, life begins to rearrange itself accordingly. The person you need suddenly shows up in a casual conversation. The book you have been searching for falls into your hands. A proposal you thought impossible arrives from an unexpected place. These moments are often called coincidences, but to the one who understands the law, they are proof of synchronicity signs that the inner and the outer have come into alignment. In the past, you may have lived in chaos, thoughts shifting constantly, beliefs colliding, emotions swinging wildly. The result was a life equally chaotic, opportunities slipping away, relationships half-hearted, efforts scattered. But when you learn to hold a clear image in the mind, when you stand firm in positive vibration, you will see the chaos slowly dissolve. The outer world begins to synchronize with the inner vision, and what once seemed rare now becomes frequent. Think back to the last time you thought of a friend you had not seen in years, and soon after they called, or when you imagined an opportunity, and days later it appeared as an unexpected invitation. These small examples are clear evidence that mind and reality are deeply connected. You cannot control how it unfolds, but you can always control the signal you emit, and that signal, when held long enough, leads to the wonder of synchronicity. Synchronicity is not a miracle, but the inevitable result of inner consistency. Just as tuning a musical instrument, if the strings are off, the sound is harsh and disjointed. But once tuned to the right frequency, harmony flows effortlessly. Life works the same. When your mind wavers between faith and doubt, your vibration is mixed, and the result is a life of contradiction. But when you are consistent, when the inner plays a clear melody, the entire universe begins to harmonize with you. This also explains why successful people seem to always be lucky. They are not fortunate by chance. They simply maintain such a steady vibration of belief that external events must synchronize with it. They attract support, recognition, and collaboration because they have aligned inwardly with the state of success. And so, when they encounter what looks like coincidence, it is not surprise. It is confirmation that the system is working according to law. You do not need to manipulate how the universe arranges itself. Your only task is to keep the inner clear, steady, and consistent. When you do, the outer events naturally fall into place like perfect puzzle pieces. Imagine a jigsaw. If you hold the whole picture in mind, the scattered pieces find their place. Without the picture, the pieces only create confusion. Synchronicity is the moment you see the whole image and life's fragments begin to return to their rightful place. From chaos to synchronicity is a turning point anyone can experience. It is not the privilege of a few, but the natural result of holding the right vibration. And when you live it, you will stop calling these events coincidences. You will recognize them as reminders from the universe that you have tuned into a deeper rhythm where inner and outer no longer stand apart, but merge into one continuous flow. And in that flow, you know that everything you need is already on its way at the right time, in the right way, in perfect harmony with the vibration you have chosen to maintain. The programming formula, repetition plus image plus emotion. No creative process ever happens by accident. The subconscious does not respond to scattered thoughts, nor is it moved by vague wishes. It operates according to a precise formula, simple yet immensely powerful. Repetition, image, and emotion. When these three elements unite, the subconscious takes it as command and begins to construct reality according to the blueprint you have given. Repetition is the foundation of programming. A fleeting thought is like dust drifting across a field, too weightless to leave any mark. But when a thought is repeated day after day, it becomes a seed rooting deep in the soil, just as a trickle of water flowing constantly will carve a channel through stone. Repetition engraves an idea into the subconscious. This is why every tradition of mental training, from religion to philosophy, emphasizes prayer, chanting affirmation, because they understood the power of repetition in planting belief. Yet dry repetition alone is not enough. If you merely recite affirmations without clear images in the mind, the subconscious hardly receives them. Image is the natural language of the mind. You do not think in letters, you think in pictures. When I mention a house, you do not see letters spelling house. You see the image of a house. Thus, to make the subconscious understand your command, you must give it a vivid picture. The clearer the image, the more detailed, the easier the subconscious absorbs it. It is like the blueprint handed to an architect. The more precise it is, the more accurate the structure built. But repetition and image are only two parts of the formula. The most vital element is emotion, for it is emotion that carries the image deep into the subconscious. An image repeated hundreds of times without feeling holds less power than one saturated with genuine emotion for just a few minutes. When you picture a goal and feel joy, gratitude, and excitement as though it were already real, your entire nervous system vibrates with that state, and the subconscious accepts it as fact. It does not distinguish between present and imagined. It only registers emotional frequency and uses it as the reference point for future reality. Think back to a painful memory from the past, and instantly your current state is affected. Your body tenses, your mind grows heavy. That is proof that emotion tied to image has the power to shape present reality. The reverse is equally true. Attach positive emotion to an image of success, and the subconscious will absorb and reflect it into your life. Thus, the programming formula is no distant secret. It is within your reach. Repeat a clear image, nourish it with genuine emotion, and do it often until it becomes a natural part of you. At that point, you no longer need to force yourself to believe, because the subconscious already believes on your behalf, and once the subconscious believes, your life moves in that direction as surely as a wheel rolls along a set path. Many fail because they focus only on one element. Some repeat affirmations but lack imagery, and the results are faint. Some visualize vividly but without consistency, and the result fades. Some repeat and visualize but neglect emotion, and the subconscious dismisses it as illusion. Only when all three elements unite does the creative process fully ignite. You can apply this formula to any area of finance, health, love, career. A person seeking financial improvement can picture daily a life of abundance, feel the freedom and gratitude as though money were already present. One seeking health can envision vitality, energy, and the joy of moving freely. One longing for love can imagine warm moments in a fulfilling relationship and feel them as though real. Each repetition imprints on the subconscious. Each imprint strengthens belief, and each new belief draws reality toward it. The formula of repetition, image, and emotion may sound simple, but that simplicity is what makes it dangerous. For if you unconsciously repeat negative images, attach them to fear, the subconscious records them just the same and creates matching results. One who constantly worries about debt will unconsciously picture lack, feel anxiety, and thus attract more lack. This is why you must stay awake and choose your thoughts. Whether you know it or not, the formula is always running, and your life is its product. Once you understand this, you will no longer see visualization or affirmation as mental games, but as true instruments of creation. You will no longer treat positive emotion as a luxury, but as a responsibility to protect the inner process. And you will see that when these three elements merge into one, no outside power can prevent manifestation, for the universe only reflects what you have already programmed into it, through repetition, through image, and through the emotion engraved upon your soul. Dreamers versus creators living from the future, there is a fine line between the dreamer and the creator, yet that line determines the entire destiny of a life. Dreamers live on fragile hope. They gaze at the future with admiration, but never step into it. They think of someday when circumstances will shift, when luck will knock, when the tide will turn. But creators live from that very future as though it already exists here and now. They do not wait for evidence. They carry the future into every thought, every word, every action. And so the future is compelled to become the present. Dreamers adjust their vision according to circumstance. When things go well, they believe the dream is near. When obstacles come, they doubt and abandon. Their lives circle endlessly around scattered images, never strong enough to solidify into reality. Creators, by contrast, hold a steady vision. Regardless of outer events, they guard it like a torch in the night, walking step by step, even when the path is long. The difference lies not in imagination, but in conviction and persistence. Living from the future means identifying yourself with the version of you who is already successful, abundant and free, even when the present shows none of it yet. This is not pretending, nor is it self-deception. It is the application of an unchanging principle. The mind does not distinguish between real and imagined. It only records the state you repeat most often when you live as though your desire has already come to pass. The subconscious accepts that state and begins restructuring life to match the image. This is the essential difference between dreaming and creating. Imagine two people both desiring wealth. The dreamer says, "One day I will be rich." Yet in every small decision, he behaves like one in lack. He delays, he doubts, he wastes energy in worry. The creator, however, holds the image of abundance, and even now makes choices that reflect it. He manages time as one who values it. He acts with the confidence of one who has succeeded. He lives with the gratitude of one who has received. One waits, the other lies from the future today, and over time, the results are two completely different destinies. It is like the architect designing a house before a single brick is laid. The blueprint is already complete in the mind. The architect lives with that design, refining every detail until it is clear. The building process is simply the unfolding of what already exists within. The dreamer, by contrast, merely looks at pictures of beautiful houses, wishing they could own one, but never drafts a plan of their own. Living from the future does not mean ignoring the present. It means lifting the present to a higher frequency. You do not deny what is happening, but you refuse to let it define who you are. Instead of reacting to current conditions, you act from the image of the future. When failure knocks, you do not treat it as an end, but as one step in a path already determined. When a door closes, you see another opening, because in your mind the destination is certain. This is the steadfastness dreamers lack and creators possess. What makes living from the future so powerful is that it frees you from dependency on circumstances. If you wait for proof to believe, you will always be ruled by conditions. But when you believe, first live, first act, first, you become the one who shapes conditions. Gradually, the outer world aligns with the inner picture you have sustained. Opportunities arise not by chance, but as the natural consequence of the state you have chosen to live in. Dreamers always ask, when, creators say. Now, dreamers wait for the world to change. Creators change the world from within, and you, at this very moment, can choose which path to walk. You can keep waiting for someday, or you can begin living from that day's vision today. Living from the future is the turning point where every dream becomes reality. For the universe does not reward those who wait, it mirrors those who dare to live as though their desire is already fulfilled. And when you step into that state, when every word, every decision, every small action reflects your future self, you will discover something wondrous. The boundary between dream and reality disappears. There remains only one continuous flow, where you are both the creator and the witness of the mind's indestructible power. Faith precedes evidence, the chain of transformation. No evidence ever comes before faith. Everything you see today once existed only because someone believed in it long before it appeared in form. The bridge that spans the river was once only an image in an engineer's mind. The airplane soaring across the sky was once the outrageous dream of two mechanics. The electric light was the unwavering conviction of Edison. Even after thousands of failed attempts, evidence only appears after someone dares to let faith go first. Faith is not a vague hope, but a conviction so firm that your mind operates as though the desire were already reality. When you hold a clear image, nourish it with emotion, and repeat it without ceasing, you are planting faith in the subconscious. And the subconscious, once it has received the command, begins arranging circumstances to reflect it. The outer world is compelled to follow the inner state. This is the chain of transformation all must undergo. From idea to belief to evidence. What causes most to fail is their demand for evidence before daring to believe. They want to see results in hand before allowing conviction in heart. But the law of creation works in reverse. Evidence comes only after faith has been firmly set. A seed cannot sprout if you wait to see the plant before you believe it is alive. You must trust the life within the seed, water it, care for it, and only then will the sprout emerge. So it is with every dream. Faith must come first. This is the power of voice within, not merely a voice you hear, but a sanctuary you return to. It is the inner voice, the refuge when the world denies you, when all around say you cannot. That voice whispers you already have. When failure knocks again and again, that voice reminds you that evidence is on its way. The inner voice does not lean on present conditions, it leans on faith, and that faith becomes the energy carrying you through the long night toward the dawn. The chain of transformation begins with choice. Each day you choose what to believe, and that choice shapes your future. If you choose fear, the subconscious produces evidence to confirm it. If you choose abundance, the subconscious creates evidence to affirm it. When the first signs appear, the circle of faith strengthens, accelerating the results. It is a spiral. Faith creates evidence. Evidence strengthens faith, and together they lift you to new heights. Those who live without faith are like boats without sails, driven wherever the winds blow. Their moods shift with circumstance. When things go well, They rejoice. When hardship comes, they collapse. But those who live by faith carry an inner compass. Regardless of storms, their ship holds steady. This stability carries them across the waves, unbroken, until the evidence they sought arrives to crown their steadfastness. Look at any great achievement in history, and you will see this chain at work. Before evidence, there was belief. Before the world witnessed, a single mind held the vision in silence. The same is true for you. Your life will not change if you keep demanding evidence before you allow yourself to believe. Change begins only when you step onto the path of faith, believing first, living first, acting first, so that evidence comes after as the natural consequence. Faith before evidence. This is the immutable law. No one escapes it. No one reverses it. The universe does not reward passive waiting. It reflects only those who know how to live from faith. And once you grasp this truth, you stop restlessly searching for proof outside and begin nurturing the voice within, knowing that it is the true source of all transformation. Remember, the inner voice is always waiting for you to return, reminding you that evidence is only the mirror, while the true seed is the faith you plant. When you live from that place, you do not merely change outcomes. You change yourself, and that inner change becomes the most undeniable evidence that the chain of transformation has already begun. The language of vibration. You attract what you are. There is a language that needs no words, nor writing, yet it resounds across every border, every circumstance, and the universe never fails to hear it. This is the language of vibration. You may say you want wealth, but if your vibration is fear and lack, you will only attract more reasons to fear and more evidence of lack. You may declare that you want love, but if deep within you vibrates loneliness and doubt, you will only encounter experiences that mirror emptiness. The universe does not respond to what you say. It reflects what you are. This may startle many, for they have long believed that words and wishes were enough to change life. But spoken language touches only the surface, while vibrational language penetrates the essence of reality. Every thought you repeat, every feeling you nurture, every belief you cling to forms a composite frequency. That frequency is the invisible call, the true message you send into the universe. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you align yourself with. Observe the one who constantly complains of lack. They may say they want wealth. They may even cover their walls with affirmations. But each time they spend, their vibration is worry. Each time they see another succeed, their vibration is envy. These vibrations are the true language, and the universe responds only by sending more circumstances that strengthen those feelings. The result is that no matter how often they repeat, I am wealthy, life still reflects scarcity, because inwardly they vibrate poverty. By contrast, there are those who speak little, yet radiate peace and assurance. They walk into a room, and others immediately sense their certainty. This is because their inner vibration has been set consistently. They need not convince anyone, yet the world responds with opportunity, recognition, and favorable relationships. Such is the power of vibrational language, silent, yet louder than any words. Vibrational language also explains why you encounter recurring patterns. If within you vibrates distrust, you will continually face betrayal of expectation. If within you vibrates insecurity, you will always find yourself in anxious situations. Life is not punishing you. The universe is faithfully reflecting the signal you broadcast. Change the signal, and the experience changes. What is vital to remember is that vibration cannot be faked. You can deceive others, even yourself for a moment, but vibration cannot lie. It is the total outcome of the beliefs, thoughts, and emotions you cultivate daily to change your vibration. You must change at the root. Identify old beliefs, replace them with new ones, nurture new emotions, and hold them steady. When the inner vibration changes, the outer world must follow. Picture yourself as a musical instrument and life as the grand orchestra. If your strings are out of tune, the entire harmony is dissonant. But once you tune them rightly, the whole melody flows in beauty. Life is the same. It only reflects the sound you release, and you are the only one who can tune it. Many ask why what they want has not yet arrived. The answer is not in the wanting, but in the vibration. You may want something with the mind, but vibration is ruled by the underlying beliefs and dominant emotions. If desire and vibration do not match, the universe will reflect only vibration, not désir. This is why many grow disillusioned with affirmations. They repeat words but never change the frequency. You attract what you are, no more and no less. And the good news is you can always become something else by altering your vibrational language. Each time you choose faith instead of doubt, gratitude instead of worry, you are fine-tuning your frequency. Over time, the new vibration becomes your prevailing language, and life mirrors it back through new events, new people, new opportunities. Vibrational language does not need volume, yet it is the most powerful declaration you make to the universe each day. Whether you realize it or not, you are speaking it every moment, and when you understand this law, you stop wasting energy on complaints, fears, or envy. Because, each vibration is an invisible command-shaping reality. You begin to select your vibrations as carefully as your words, consciously, deliberately. From this awareness, you discover a profound truth. You never attract what you merely want. You attract only what you have become. And the instant you become it, the moment your vibration aligns with your desire, nothing in existence can prevent it from appearing. Life is only the mirror. Your vibration is the image it reflects. Wealth as a state of consciousness, the infinite spiritual supply. Wealth does not begin with numbers in a bank account, nor does it depend on outside opportunities or the randomness of luck. Wealth is a state of consciousness, an inner current that, once you tap into it, reshapes your entire life to reflect abundance. If deep within you believe in lack, you will always see evidence of lack. But if deep within you live with the conviction of infinite supply, the world will mirror that supply back to you with exactness. Your true source does not lie in the bank, nor in the economy, nor in the hands of anyone else. Your true source is spirit, and spirit is infinite. Look around you. Everything in the material world began as an idea, a flash of insight in someone's mind. The chair you sit on, the house you live in, the book in your hand, each was once only an image in consciousness. If consciousness can bring forth all you see, then what limit could possibly exist to its supply? The problem is never outside scarcity, but inner limitation. When you believe wealth belongs only to a few, when you feel unworthy, when you dwell in thoughts of lack, you are locking the door to infinite supply. But when you open, when you believe wealth is the natural flow, and you are part of that flow, all of life begins to return to you. Opportunities, ideas, and relationships that match. You no longer chase after abundance, for abundance itself flows through you. Wealth is a state, and you can enter it even when your purse is empty. When you choose gratitude for what you have, when you choose to trust that more is on its way, you have aligned with the frequency of wealth. and that frequency will draw in more and more evidence to support it. The wonder is that you do not wait for proof before believing. Proof arrives only after belief. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself what wealth truly means to you? Is it just numbers, or is it freedom, peace, and wholeness? If wealth is only money, you will always feel lack, for material things are ever changing. But if wealth is a state of consciousness, you can be wealthy now, in this moment, for spirit never runs dry. And once you feel abundance within, matter itself will rearrange to reflect it. This is not lofty theory, it is immutable law. Look at those who live in the certainty of abundance, and you will see they seem always to meet with fortune. Opportunities open, the right people arrive at the right moment, unexpected doors swing wide. Conversely, those who live in the vibration of lack meet only more proof of scarcity, not because they are unlucky, but because their consciousness broadcasts poverty, and the universe faithfully reflects it. You may ask, how do I step into wealth when the present shows so little? The answer lies in what you can control. Thought, belief, and feeling plant images of abundance in your mind, nurture the feeling of gratitude, and repeat this state daily until it becomes natural. Then you no longer strive to believe. Your subconscious believes for you. And once the subconscious believes, all of life reorganizes itself to confirm it. Do you sense the truth that your supply has never been limited? Do you realize that wealth is already flowing through you, waiting only for your permission to reveal itself? I ask you now, will you dare to believe that abundance has always belonged to you? And are you willing to open your heart to live from that state? If these words find resonance within you, I thank you for your very presence as proof that this truth has touched your soul. Remember, wealth is not a destination. It is a state you choose, and when you choose to live in that state, every limit dissolves, every door opens, and you discover that infinite spiritual supply has always been there, waiting for you to step in and receive it. The invisible workshop, imagination over willpower. Willpower is the flame that drives effort, but imagination is the blueprint that determines the shape of the result. You may use willpower to force yourself to work harder, to resist old habits, or to push through fatigue. But without a clear inner image of what you desire, all effort is like rowing across the ocean without a map. Imagination is the invisible workshop, where every structure of life is designed before it appears in form. History proves this truth. When the Wright brothers declared that man could fly, they had no great resources, no ready technology. They had only an image in mind, humanity soaring through the sky like birds. That image, repeated again and again, became the persistent force that carried them through hundreds of failures until the dream became reality. They did not rely on willpower alone, for willpower can exhaust itself, but imagination, once rooted, has a power of self-renewal. Imagination is greater than willpower because it speaks the language of the subconscious. The subconscious does not respond to pressure or harsh commands. It responds only to vivid, emotional images. You may use willpower to force yourself to think positively for a moment, but if within you lingers the image of failure, the subconscious will still reproduce failure. By contrast, when you plant a vivid image of success and infuse it with true feeling, the subconscious accepts it and runs as an automatic program, moving you toward it, whether or not you exert will. This explains why many strive to forget the past, yet never escape it. They use willpower to suppress memory, but the subconscious still holds the old image alive. The harder they try to forget, the more it haunts them. Only when replaced with a stronger, more vivid image does the old begin to fade. Imagination does not merely cover it, restructures. Give the subconscious a new picture, and the old energy must give way Picture one who longs for wealth, yet spends each day forcing themselves to think positive by sheer will. They read books, remind themselves to be strong, but the images in their mind are still of unpaid bills and unresolved debts. Willpower, in this case, is like a candle struggling against darkness, while imagination is like the sunrise that dissolves the darkness without effort. Replace the inner images of lack with vivid scenes of abundance. Nurture them daily, and the whole inner system changes without the strain of constant force. Imagination surpasses willpower because it frees you from the endless struggle with present conditions. Willpower fights against what is. Imagination bypasses the present and connects directly with the future. It does not ask whether the resources exist. Now, it draws the complete picture and commands the subconscious to bring it forth. This is why those who wield imagination move with lightness, while those who rely on willpower alone grow weary. The one resists the current, the other shapes it at the source. This invisible workshop is open to all. You need no special authority, no vast resources, only the courage to sit down and sketch the life you want to live. You may build a business, design a free future, or picture radiant health. Whatever you craft in that inner space holds the potential to become the blueprint of reality. The question is not whether you can imagine, but whether you will believe in it and nurture it long enough. Here lies a little recognized truth. Every great creation, whether art or science, began with imagination, not willpower. Willpower is only the tool that carries out the vision, but imagination is where the vision is born. Without imagination, willpower is like a laborer without a plan. He may toil endlessly, but the outcome is only a pile of bricks. Only with a design does the labor become a building. The strength of imagination is that it is not bound by the present. Willpower can only work with what exists, but imagination transcends time and space. It lets you live in the future, feel it as real, and that feeling becomes the vibration that draws all needed conditions. Where willpower often breeds fatigue, imagination generates inspiration. And it is inspiration that sustains endurance. Imagination is not a distant fancy. It is the essential tool of creation. It is the invisible workshop where every achievement is designed, where consciousness becomes the architect of reality. You cannot transform life with willpower alone. You need a design, a vivid image, a vision strong enough for the subconscious to receive. With that blueprint in place, willpower becomes hands and feet serving the vision, rather than a burden struggling against reality. So the question is no longer whether you have enough willpower. The real question is, have you entered your invisible workshop? Have you given your subconscious a clear design to build upon? For if not, your effort is only labor without form. But once the image exists, nurtured with emotion and belief, the entire universe becomes the construction site, and you will witness what you imagined gradually taking shape as undeniable reality. Faith in action, uniting thought, emotion, and behavior. The power of faith does not lie in affirmations repeated endlessly, but in actions taken as though the result were already real. When thought, feeling, and behavior are divided, you create inner conflict. Thought may declare, I believe, but emotion vibrates doubt, and behavior reflects fear. That dissonance scatters creative energy, delaying or derailing the process. Only when the three are united does the flow open fully. Thought is the seed, emotion, the water and light, and behavior, the hand that plants. A seed, no matter how good, is useless if never tended. A garden cannot flourish if no hand acts. A thought of abundance requires the feeling of trust, and that feeling must lead to corresponding action. When you think abundance yet behave as one in lack, you contradict yourself. When you claim worthiness, yet act as one who dares not receive, the subconscious perceives the disunity and reflects it outward. Faith in action is not reckless action, but action born of certainty. It is not leaping off a cliff hoping for a miracle, but walking with assurance because you know the ground is beneath your feet, even if unseen. Such action carries a different energy. It sends the message that thought, emotion, and behavior have merged into one, and the universe can only respond by harmonizing circumstances. Consider the entrepreneur. If in thought he trusts his success, if in heart he feels excitement and gratitude, and if in behavior he chooses boldly as a victor, then the result is only a matter of time. That alignment turns him into a magnet for opportunity. But if his thought says yes while his feeling trembles with fear, and his actions are timid, like a defeated man, the outcome mirrors the division. This is why faith in action is the pivotal point in the chain of transformation. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Thought and feeling create vibration, but action gives vibration form. When you act as though the desire is fulfilled, you send a consistent signal, and the universe begins to move in rhythm with it. This is the power of voice within. Not merely a voice you hear, but a space you return to. It is the inner voice reminding you that belief is not only in thought, not only in feeling, but must be proven in daily action. Each time you choose to act from conviction instead of doubt, you return to that inner space where all three merge, where true power begins. Faith in action also dissolves procrastination. Many wait for perfect conditions before acting, yet the truth is that conditions become perfect only after you act in faith. Step forward into the dark with a small lamp, and the path appears. Wait for the whole landscape to light, and you may wait forever. The step taken in conviction opens the way, each step inviting the next, each door leading to another. The beauty is that faithful action need not be grand. Sometimes it is a decisive word in a conversation, the way you devote time to a project, or the way you treat yourself as one already successful. These small acts, repeated steadily, convince the subconscious that you truly believe. And once the subconscious believes, it restructures life to fit the image. Thought sets direction. Emotion lights the fire. Action pushes the wheel forward. Without one, the process limps. With all three aligned, you enter an unstoppable flow. In this state, every word, every choice, every step resonates at the same frequency. The universe has no option but to mirror that frequency into concrete results. For consistency is the strongest law. When you live with faith in action, you no longer ask when the desire will arrive. It has already begun, because you are already living in it. From that place, evidence, opportunities, and results emerge as natural responses. This is unity, the one path by which dreams move from unseen to seen, from seed to harvest, from belief to reality. The power of words and self-talk, commands of vibration. Words are never mere sounds or symbols. Every word you speak, whether to others or to yourself, is a vibration released, a command issued straight into the subconscious. Self-talk, that silent stream of dialogue flowing through your mind, is the strongest and most constant channel of communication with your inner world. People often assume that the sentences they mutter in thought are harmless. Yet in truth, they shape the quality of life far more than any outside circumstance. You can observe this in everyday life. A person who constantly mumbles, "I'm no good, I'll never succeed," asterisk, even if spoken to no one, still imprints those words on the subconscious. It does not distinguish between joke or truth. It receives them as command. The entire system of nerves emotions, and behavior then forms itself to reflect that order, such a person acts without confidence, sees failure in every corner, and ends with results that reinforce the belief of inadequacy. By contrast, one who understands words as instruments of creation builds a different reality. When they speak to themselves with conviction asterisk, I am capable, I am worthy, I will succeed asterisk, the subconscious accepts these statements and installs them as new standards. Gradually, self-talk shapes belief. Belief generates feeling, and feeling produces action. The final outcome is a life synchronized with the words once spoken in silence. What makes words vibrational commands lies in repetition, and the emotion tied to them. A fleeting sentence is too light to leave a mark, but a sentence repeated with strong feeling becomes a continuous signal. The subconscious does not analyze, does not argue, it obeys. Each time you repeat a phrase charged with energy, you are training yourself, reprogramming yourself, and handing the subconscious a clear directive of what must be created. Remember, self-talk never stops. Even in silence, the mind speaks to itself. The question is whether you allow it to drift in unconscious negativity or whether you deliberately guide it with affirmations of power and certainty. This is the difference between those who drift in life and those who create their own reality. One lets the inner voice wander in doubt. The other chooses to refine each phrase, and in so doing, raises their vibration. Words are also the bridge between the visible and the invisible. Each phrase is a seed sown in the soil of the subconscious, and in time it sprouts into habit, belief, and concrete result. The truly successful differ not only in what they do, but first in what they say to themselves. They know words do not merely describe reality, they shape it. The subconscious functions like an engine that never stops, and words are its operating code. If you repeat, asterisk, I am powerless, asterisk, it will arrange evidence of your weakness. If you repeat, I am strong, asterisk, it will rally every resource within to prove your strength. Thus, the choice of words is the choice of destiny. There is an undeniable truth. Many are not poor because of circumstances, but because of impoverished self-talk. They repeat phrases that deny worth, planting seeds of lack, and life outside simply reflects that program. But the good news is this: you can change at any moment by choosing new words. You generate new vibrations, and those vibrations soon crystallize into new reality. This requires awareness and discipline. You must listen to yourself, notice the sentences whispered in thought, and replace them when needed. Do not dismiss this lightly. You alter a frase, you alter the direction of your life with persistence. You will see that the subconscious never resists, it only obeys. The commands you issue today will become the experiences of tomorrow. Words are vibrational commands. Self-talk is the channel that delivers them ceaselessly. And once you awaken to this truth, you begin to speak differently, think differently, and live differently. This is not only the power of words, but the very core of creative power, the power to turn every phrase into the seed that shapes your entire future. Daily practice, total responsibility, and the call to commitment. True transformation is not found in a fleeting moment of inspiration, but in the ordinary days where you persist in repeating the smallest steps. An idea may open a door, belief may light the path, but only daily practice turns potential into reality. This is the dividing line between those who hear and forget and those who hear and live. Daily practice means choosing to place yourself in the role of creator rather than victim. Each morning, when you wake You do not face a schedule or responsibilities alone. You face the fundamental question, what vibration will I choose to live in today? Asterisk. That question, simple yet profound, places full responsibility in your hands. You can no longer blame circumstance, excuse others, or shift the weight. You recognize that your life is the direct result of what you allow to dwell in your mind. Daily practice is also the discipline of nurturing the inner image. If you envision a future of abundance, you must give time to see it vividly, to feel it deeply, and to reinforce it with aligned action. These need not be grand acts. Sometimes it is as small as how you choose your words, how you manage your time, how you respond to challenge. Each detail becomes proof to the subconscious that you are living from belief, not merely thinking about it. Commitment to daily practice also means accepting that every result is an inner reflection. When success appears, it was born of the belief and image you have sustained. When difficulty arrives, you do not cast blame, but recognize it as an echo of an old vibration waiting to be changed. Total responsibility leaves no room for victimhood. You stand as the architect of every experience. But practice is not a burden. It is an opportunity to strengthen your choice each day. Every morning is a new beginning. Every thought is a seed. Every word is a command. Every action is a step toward the vision you have chosen. With commitment, each day becomes nourishment, and that steady rhythm becomes unshakable power. No one else can do this for you. Books may guide, teachers may inspire, but unless you sit, close your eyes, imagine, feel, and act from belief, knowledge remains dead letters. Practice is what turns theory into life, and life itself becomes the clearest evidence of your power. Commitment does not demand perfection. There will be days you falter, moments you forget. What matters is that you return. Each return sends a message to the subconscious that this path is real. Over time, practice becomes habit. Habit becomes nature. Then you no longer force it. You simply breathe it. The invitation is plain. Commit not to anyone else, but to yourself, to your highest self. Commit to spend each day planting right seeds, nurturing right images, and acting from right belief. Commit not to let temporary circumstances define you, but to let the inner world define circumstance. When you step into this commitment, you step onto an irreversible journey. Each day walked adds proof to your belief. Each step taken sets the universe in motion to mirror it. And slowly, you realize you are no longer chasing change. You have become the change. Daily practice is the final key that opens the door fully. It turns every thought, every vibration, every belief you have built into a living current. And when you live in that constancy, you no longer wonder whether wealth will come for you. You are already wealthy in consciousness. And once it becomes your nature, nothing can prevent the outer world from reflecting it back. Commit then, for this is not a heavy burden. It is the invitation into full freedom, where you are the author of destiny, where each day is the chance to prove to yourself that creative power has never lived anywhere except within you. Every thought you plant is a command. Every vibration you sustain is a signal, and every act of faith is a brick laid in the foundation of destiny. There is no longer room for delay, no space for doubt. Wealth is not out there. It has lived within you since the beginning. Choose commitment. Choose to live from the vision of the future rather than the memory of the past. Let each day stand as proof that you are the architect of your own life. The world is not waiting for you to change. The world is waiting for you to become the change.